All right, what's good, guys? I'm gonna try to bang this one out because I'm a little bit behind in terms of videos for you guys. This should have been uploaded yesterday, but I just finished eating. That's why my lips are like hella red right now because at this point I'm covering everything in hot sauce just for that extra flavor, and it does help hunger and satiety signals a little bit. I forgot where I read that, but I don't know. It seems to be helping me. Anyway, so in this one, this is week 11. You just saw the top single on the RDLs for this week. So just to kind of go over like how things were looking in terms of the prep side of things. So at this point, and you'll actually see in my form here. So I severely reduced the weight on this specific day just because there was hella pain in my lower back. And, I was trying to mess around with a different type of range of motion here. But, like, I'm still going, like, super deep. And I think that's the issue here. And I wasn't, like, pulling all the way up, or at least it felt like I wasn't pulling all the way up. But as you can see, I'm still pulling all the way up here into, like, a soft sort of, like, hip extension. Um, yeah, really severe, like, lower back pain. Kind of crazy, honestly. I just kind of, like, played it by ear. Like, I know like sometimes it can be kind of scary when you like suffer or like feel like a tweak or a twinge or some type of niggle or something like that in any like joint or part of your body from lifting. But I think it's important to recognize that like when it comes to these sort of things, it's actually kind of part of the process. And not to get too spooked, obviously listen to your body. And if things are bad, like really bad, like you can't move, then yeah, you should probably lay off of it. Or if it persists and it's starting to get worse, lay off of it. Obviously, take a break. Just feel it out, But sometimes you don't necessarily need to remove the movement entirely. Like, yeah, it was pretty severe, the pain, but my range of motion wasn't restricted, and it wasn't necessarily something that I was feeling in my spine or even like in my joints necessarily. It was more or less like a really, really bad soreness. Yeah, doing the pull-ups here. If I go to my training log, let me see, because I left some notes this week because yeah, I was, I don't know. I think also too in terms of that specific pain, I was definitely, I was definitely sleeping wrong. Uh, that's kind of an issue for me. So, um, yeah, based on the notes, it looks like I kind of just based the weight on how much pain I could handle at that point in time, and it's kind of similar in the sense with like stretching, like when you get into those deep stretch positions when you're doing some type of mobility work, you only go as far as you can handle. So again, um, just don't be too spooked with these sort of things. Obviously, listen to your body. If it's horrible and it's affecting other, ranges of motion or just, um, yeah, just obviously take a break. But if you can work around it, awesome. But yeah, low back stuff. Obviously, I was going a little too deep on the RDLs with these. And then, so yeah, I also switched over my chest supported row at this point in time to this. And I've been doing this since. Really like these. Really like it. Super high incline, just so I can really, really target the upper back here. And initiating with my elbows, nice and slow and controlled. The weight isn't crazy. I think these are just 55-pound dumbbells. um, Allowing my scapula to come forward on that stretch position, um, but also like allowing it to protract comfortably back. Essentially, I'm just pulling my elbows a little bit up until like they're about 90 degrees, or at least until like I hit that top portion of the bench there. And yeah, man, these are great. I really, really, really liking these like a lot. You can see some of the arm cuts here, which is kind of cool. But also, um, want to go over a couple other things with you guys. So in terms of the protocol and what things were looking like at this point on week 11, this is where the 1700 calories started. So this is like the real digging. I know in past videos I've said like the 1800, that was kind of digging. Nah, 1700. I mean 1720 to be exact, most days, and then back up to like 2,200 on the weekends for my refeed days was the game plan going forward. And this specific week too, I had to get training done. Like I started my training week on a Sunday as opposed to my typical Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday sort of split that I got going on right now. And the reason for this was because this week in particular, like I was at my buddy's bachelor party. Also, yeah, here are some incline curls, Myo reps as well. I don't think I've ever videotaped myself doing these, but yeah, you guys can kind of see the form here. Obviously, there's a lot of like repositioning here and there, and that's just kind of based off feel. I really like this exercise. Obviously, you could do it with the cable, standing, like a Bayesian cable curl or something like that, and it also feels great as well. But in terms of stabilization and not having to readjust yourself and worry about your body positioning going forward with the cables, I just opt for these. I feel like an immense stretch on the way down. I don't really worry too much. I didn't mean to go into so much of a tangent with this exercise, but I don't worry too much about like raising my shoulders up a little bit, just because the main focus with this exercise is feeling that stretch on the way down. Anyway, so let me see here. Yeah, so week 11, with the new calories, we saw a pretty substantial drop. I think at this point I had gone below 160 pounds. Like I started the week, like my running average was about 160.5 pounds, and by the end of it, we had dropped 1.28 pounds on the average. So at the end of the week, my running average was 159.22. I had seen my lowest weigh-in of 158.3 this specific week while I was like on my bachelor party, not my bachelor party, my buddy's bachelor party in San Diego, which was also a really nice break as well. I'll add some clips of that at the end here. But yeah, had to end my training week pretty early this week. So there's a lot of stuff. This was a busy week. Like started on Sunday, ended my entire training week on a Wednesday. And then I just took the next 4 days off on week up until week 4, which was, I believe, a deload the following week. Anyways, so yeah, we spent like about 4 days in San Diego, got like a big old Airbnb. That was honestly like really nice for the mental, just because like up until that point, and I mean, I try to balance everything out as much as I can when it comes to this bodybuilding stuff, or just you want to have balance with everything. So spending time with my buddies, who we're all old now. We all don't live in the same neighborhood anymore. It was really nice. We spent a lot of time like on the beach playing football, and I haven't played football in a minute, and I miss playing football, as well as like spike ball and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, these still doing the pendulum squats on day 4, which is basically my leg day, hardest and the last day of my training week. Really loving the pendulums. Really like locking in the form. I have like my perfect like foot position at this point. And even now at this point on like I'm talking to you 17 weeks into this, but this is obviously 6 weeks ago. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like the weight's moving up on this exercise. And obviously like there's that neurological period where I'm relearning it, because it's been a while since I've done it. Especially I think when I used to train with this particular exercise, I was using my Romaleos, my Olympic weightlifting shoes with a raised heel. Just going flat here seems to be just fine. I just don't want to carry a bunch of stuff. And yeah, in between sets, I'm just like getting some steps in. This is like somewhat of a little bit of a secret cheat code, not really, that you can utilize just to get some extra steps in, between sets. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend it on this particular day because my legs, especially with this exercise, this blows up my quads. My quads really, really love this exercise, just because of that deep position that I can get in with this particular exercise. So my quads are feeling it even on the steps. And today, which is, I had somewhat of a shorter, like I didn't take my normal, like Wednesday day off. from training on the 17th week that I'm currently on. So I did my leg day session this day that you're seeing right now on a Thursday, and this morning I was cramping a little bit, um, just from the soreness and whatnot. But anyway, that's week 11. Next clip you're gonna see is just me showing you guys how to make, protein oats, because some people have been asking about that. And see you in hopefully a day, most likely two, on the next one. But again, I'm really thankful for all the support, and I know there's a lot of comments you guys are leaving in terms of, just the recipes for my protein cake and all that stuff. That's coming next week. There's other recipes coming as well, because I'm getting recipes or requests for recipes on like my square omelet from the full day of eating shorts that you guys are really liking, and I'm really loving making. So just bear with me, guys. I got like a show coming up next week, so I'm a bit like preoccupied, and we're back to digging. So I'm a little spacey, but again, I really appreciate all the support, and just the fact that you guys are, vibing with me, which is cool. And yeah, anyways, like, share, subscribe, join the tribe, follow along for the journey. Lot more weeks coming, because if I'm being honest, haven't spoken about this yet, but did add a fourth show. So I just love being in this horrible deprived caloric state, and yeah, we're continuing this up until December 6th. That'll be the last show, and at this point in time, that is going to be five weeks from now. So we got so 6, so 11 more weeks of this, and then I'll kind of outline and probably do a Q&A at some point, because there's a lot of comments and a lot of questions that you guys are asking. I'll make sure to get to you guys. But anyway, love y'all. Talk to you soon. Peace. Basically, for any sort of meals, especially if you're dieting, whether it be casual or deep into contest prep, get you a food scale. That should be way more accurate. But basically, all this really is first meal. And I'm playing around with a meal plan here, because I will be going on a trip in the next couple days or so, is protein oats. So, yeah, you guys can see me okay. All right, so I'm going to put 60 grams of quick oats in here. And typically, so right now, since I'm in the week, the first 5 days of the week, I'm opting for oats. On the weekends, I'll typically opt for cream of rice, just because I can eat roughly around like I have more carbs to play with, and since I have less amount of carbs throughout the week, this kind of oats digest slower, so it is going to help keep me a little bit more full throughout majority of the day, because I probably won't have my next meal for another like 2-3 hours or so, which is probably just gonna be like a big ass salad. Okay. Yeah, so wait for the oats to finish. Also, I think I low-key might have a slight injury just in the lower back region. Might need to take a break from the RDLing. The RDLs were a bit painful. I think since the last RDL session I have been dealing with a slight lower back pain that just kind of around. It's like soreness, but also like I can feel it a little bit there. It's not like anything unbearable and crazy, but it hurts. So that's not good. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. But I would hate to take out RDLs, because I love RDLs, and yeah, it's like the last thing I want to do. I don't even know like what to replace them with. I am sort of playing around with like a decreased range of motion. So like, as opposed to pulling it all the way up here, I'm just kind of playing around like in this region, only going like, let's do this far, which I tried playing around with today. It wasn't too bad, but I did have to severely like decrease the weight about like 40 pounds on my top set single. And then, I only went up to like 100 or 282.5 pounds today.
They're ripped out for a good 7 and 6. But oats are done. There we go. I think that's better. All right. So now you can. Oh shit. Oh, I didn't even notice that was happening. That's what that looks like. Now, the next step here is to add protein powder. So I'm not gonna lie, this shit right here. This shit is so good, honestly. It's hella chocolatey. And like if you know me, you know that I am a chocolate fiend. This is like coffee level chocolatey. That's what I'm talking about. Like I love chocolate. Like Mississippi mud pie ice cream. All right, we're just gonna mix this shit in. Sometimes I like a warm breakfast. Sometimes I will have like eggs on the side separated, but this is just gonna be easier for meal prep. It digests good, nice and slow. The protein doesn't upset my stomach. These are like things I like look for when it comes to keeping foods in the rotation within my diet. Also, like, does it taste good? Like, just the usual stuff that you should pay attention to when you consume foods. But yeah, this is looking like poo. Yeah, but it's fucking doesn't taste like that. All right, my new favorite. Fuck yeah. All right, we're not done though. A couple other things. Going for like a brownie sort of taste here, so gonna add some salt, just like a a decent amount right there. Yep, and just to get a little bit more of that like sort of brownie taste, I'm gonna add some nut butter, also for some healthy fats as well. And the go-to, this shit right here. Never been a fan of nut butter or like peanut butter or any of that shit growing up. Honestly, like before I even got into like this whole like lifting, bodybuilding shit, I've always been like a super picky eater. Not anymore though. I eat it. I eat everything. I think the weirdest thing that I've ever eaten was like chicken feet. Don't recommend, but I'm adding about like 15 grams, which is this right here. And that's what that looks like, brother. Look at that shit. It literally looks like shit, but it doesn't taste like shit. It tastes. Oh, let's get a little reaction here for you.